Before the long-awaited closing remarks, we are going to watch videos from the 2 breakout sessions earlier today.
So in the panel on volunteerism, we attempted to scratch a bit below the surface and address the more challenging issues related to this topic. And we did this through a very lively discussion with the great panel that I was lucky to have and the audience. So in discussing the nature of volunteerism and moving beyond semantics, we talked about the contrast between official organized forms of volunteerism that exist, for example, in the US. And we contrasted this with the more grassroots efforts stemming from a surge in social solidarity, such as the phenomenon that we've seen in Greece, especially as a result of the crisis. We talked about the importance of family bonds, social bonds at the micro level, transcending to the macro level and turning this into a social phenomenon. Within this discussion, we emphasized on the difference between volunteerism and charitable giving, although both stem from the same impulse and desire of people to help. We discussed extensively the effects of the crisis, the rise in volunteerism among the unemployed, among students, among the retired, the importance that volunteerism places in building skills and expertise for people to perhaps re-enter the workforce, the role of education in making all this into something more sustainable and long-term. From the organization side, we talked extensively about the limits and limits to the reliability placed on volunteers from the organization's side. We had a very interesting debate between the importance of professionalism on the one hand and the impulsive desire to help on the other. This was very interesting. We closed with a discussion about effective volunteer practices, best practices, common mistakes from the part of NGOs. It was interesting because we had a lot of NGOs in the audience. The importance of discipline. We stressed also the importance of having a very clear communication of what an organization needs from a volunteer, the importance of keeping the motivation alive and the feeling of belonging and being part of a team, as well as, again, offering skills that are transferable and can be used in a different context, such as at the workforce or elsewhere. For those who could join us, I hope it was fun. It was certainly fun for us. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Katsounaki, and I was the moderator of the session Culture and Education Transforming Our Future, the case study of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation Cultural Center. We've started with discussing the SNFCC, and then we've passed to other examples of cultural projects and educational institutions, such as Chattanooga Public Library in Tennessee, Teatro Comunale di Bologna in Italy, and Penn World Voices Festival in New York, and the International Athens Film Festival in Athens. First, the problem. Because of the financial crisis, time is moving very fast. So in a way, the present is already history. How would an institution shape the future of its field? Our world is constantly in motion, and our economic resources are not enough to support cultural activities. The state is not in a position to fund cultural events. There are not enough sponsors. Most of the people are in a bad financial state. The solution, 3 words: community, collectivity, passion.
Nice. Thank you to the moderators. Hello, everyone. And thanks to all of you, our speakers, all of our attendees, for 2 full days of insights and interesting conversations. We're glad to see so many of you here, and we promise we'll keep it short and sweet. A big thanks as well to our foundation colleagues for their hard work and dedication, which made this conference possible. We made it. We've come to the end of our 2-day conference. And my colleague Andrea and I want to wrap up with what touched us the most in these past 2 days. I'll speak to day 1, where we focused on youth unemployment and what we're calling recharging the youth. I was most inspired by the wise words that our youngest participants shared with us yesterday, and following in their footsteps, will present the key words that stuck with me from our sessions. The first is listen. We heard several times how important it was to listen, to the youth especially, but also how important it was for the sectors most involved in creating change for the youth, government, business, civil society, need to be listening to each other. We as a foundation also do our best to be good listeners. In our April Youth Unemployment Conference in New York, we heard it was important to bring the voice of the youth to a conference about an issue directly affecting their lives. And we did. Yesterday, we heard from them, and I know many of us were inspired by what they had to say. Second, question. An audience member commented yesterday and said, "Youth has an expiration date." I may be taking it out of context, but the comment made me wonder. Is that true? What's youth? What does youth mean for you? Third, just do it. Sorry to Nike. We heard you have to start somewhere. Every action counts. Youth are ready and eager for opportunity. We have to start engaging them in the workplace, try new things, be okay with learning in public and even failing in public. And finally, motivate. We heard it's our duty to create motivation, especially for those who cannot provide it for themselves, and about the importance of being in a motivating environment, feeling motivated, challenged, enabled to seek something better. And we hope this conference will be a source of motivation and inspiration for all of you. So thank you all. That's all for me. And now my colleague Andrea will give us her take on today's portion of our conference. Andrea? I'll try not to.
Thanks, Roula. We started early this morning hearing from Sir Howard Bernstein about the transformation of Manchester, England. The first point I'd like to make, which really cuts across Manchester, Greece, New York City, Philadelphia, and even Chattanooga, Tennessee, is that culture is more than our traditional view of the arts. And culture is critical not only to the growth of a city and the well-being of all of its community members, but also as a driver for individuals to explore their creativity, giving them the power to transform systems and create a sustainable future. Ensuring that arts and culture was a critical part of this agenda for the third annual International Conference on Philanthropy during this economic crisis was important to really cement it as a priority and a value of the foundation and beyond internationally. During the morning plenaries, we discussed the topic of values and determining who gets to set the agenda. Okay.
Powerful.
So should it be the state setting the agenda, or philanthropic institutions, or the general public and the needs of individual beneficiaries? When there is a tension between these values, how do we make effective decisions? This topic transitioned to highlight the true value of collaboration between businesses, civil society, and government, as well as the role of philanthropy as a convener, and sometimes to push other actors towards new and innovative models. One of these models is the increased use of technology, especially to redesign public spaces. It was highlighted not only how technology has transformed arts and culture, but communities more broadly and philanthropy more generally. The SNF has been proud to support the use of technology across sectors throughout Greece, as well as the developed and developing worlds. Taking a few steps further back, relationships and partnerships are really at the heart of all the points I highlighted from day 2, as well as the points Roula made in day 1, and I believe at the heart of philanthropy. And now, if you'll indulge me a few moments to make some personal remarks about relationships. As most of you know, I am leaving the foundation after 6 great years, and although this isn't my last day, in many ways it really feels like it is. And it's the relationships that have kept me here for so long and will continue to stay with me much past my departure. The relationships with the Foundation's board and management, specifically Andreas and Vasily, who have always trusted me and allowed me to take on many new experiences and leadership opportunities, and of course the relationships with my team of colleagues across all 3 international offices that have supported and sustained me. And really most importantly, the relationships with our many grantees and extended friends and family of the Foundation, all of you who are here today. Throughout the past few years, I have seen the Foundation really grow to become a partner to many innovative and important nonprofit organizations around the world, and I have really been proud to be a part of this growth. I thank you all personally for the opportunities and the friendship, and I thank you all on behalf of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation for attending the 3rd Annual International Conference on Philanthropy and being so engaged and committed throughout the day for these long conversations. Thank you.